changing. And it tells you the width, it tells you the initial width aligns final width and what you are changing now, doctor final, as you are doing it. Yes?
Do you use this function a lot? I use it with movement table, but I just don't see any use for this particular function because I feel like you work with adults, so there's a lot of recession, this, that, so I can never
Well, you have, one thing you will have to be clear on is that you will not do expansion of the bone. Never. Never. You can do expansion, but again, maybe I don't really like the word expansion. It's more of writing than expansion, especially with adults. But now we're working also with Invisalign First, Invisalign Teen.
When you have a tooth on an implant, 7 implant for
yes.
central.
If you want to still move them, I mean, this, when you have this is perfect. This is what we're looking for. Because then if you're pushing, this will happen. Then it's perfect. So you look at the position, the initial position of your teeth. This is what we want to see. If you see arches that are like that on top and bottom, again, it's like a gift. So if you have this, and you want to do this, because this would be the real expansion we want to do, if we want to create space. So how can we do this without having our rotation? The only way we can do this is having something that will grab the tooth, like this. Then we can make this movement like that. So we need attachments, again, to be able to do that kind of movement. So then we can go from, but if you want, if it's a good case to do it, the only way to do it will be like that. When you look at attachments, okay, again, you can control attachments with the CleanCheck Pro. And when you go to the attachment tab, this is what you'll see. You have all different kinds of attachments. An attachment is necessary, again, to do the movement or for anchorage. Same thing as this. If I'm trying to open this jar and I'm not very strong, control your attachments. You are in control, again. You are the one deciding where you want the attachments, how you want the attachment, what kind of attachments you want. And there's two kinds of attachments. You have the regular attachments and the optimized attachments. Those are the two kinds you have. The regular attachments are those ones here. The rectangular ones. You have 8 different regular attachments. Okay, those two here, we never use them. Those are probably the sausage attachments. They're probably been invented by someone who still works for a line and they don't want to remove them because they don't want him to feel, you know. So they keep them there, but nobody uses that anymore. And the other 6 attachments, they're basically all the same attachment. Because once you put it on the tooth, you can do whatever you want with it. You can turn it, you can change the angulation, you can change the width, you can change the length, put it to 3, 4, or 5 millimeters. So again, whatever is the one you choose, you can do whatever you want with the attachment. So depending on the movement you want to do with the tooth. If you want to do a horizontal movement, you will put a vertical attachment. If you want to do a vertical movement, you will put a horizontal attachment. Because this is where you want to apply your force. Optimized attachment, you will not decide where they will put them. The software decides where the optimized attachments will be. So you can never decide, I want an optimized attachment on that tooth. It's only the software that decides, based on the movement you want to do on that tooth. But you can remove an optimized attachment. But my rule is if you remove an optimized attachment, it's because you want to change it for a big rectangular attachment. If there's an attachment on the tooth, you need it. You need one. Yes?
What is the difference in terms of your ability to move a tooth between a regular attachment and an optimized attachment?
The durability of the attachment? Or the
quality of
the quality? The thing you need to know about optimized attachments related to your templates and your aligners is this. The shape of the optimized attachment in your templates is not the same as the shape you have in your aligners. You have more space in your aligners than you have on your templates. Why? Because there is a space created. When you have an optimized attachment, the force is applied on this surface. And in the aligners, they will create a space, they will make it bigger for the teeth to move. So if you have to do, let's say your patient there's an attachment, optimized attachment that fell out. Either you keep the templates and you redo it, or if you do it with your aligner and know that it's going to be too big, so remove maybe a little part that's here just to make it smaller. Now some of you may say, yeah, but the template won't work anymore because the shape won't fit. So you just have to cut that tooth and make it individual. So you'll be able to do it. When you do attachments, make it clean because we want the aligner to fit perfectly over it. So we don't want any flash like this because otherwise, again, remember it's stretchable. So it won't fit well, it will open like this, and you may have some force that will be applied places you don't want it to. So we want something clean, something neat. Yes?
Do you have a tooth for that?
A what? Having something like this works really well. Buccal and lingual attachments. Same thing with extrusion. I was saying on a premolar, you could have a rectangular attachment towards the incisor, towards the occlusal. You could do the same thing on the lingual, if you can. Again, if the occlusion gives you permission to do it. So then you have two handles, and you're pulling the tooth out. It's going to be more easy than having only one. If you're pulling only on one side, again, the tendency of the tooth will be to rotate lingual. If you have one on each side, it will go straight up. So to IPR or not to IPR? It's up to you to decide, but yes? Yes what? We went to see the Jersey Boys yesterday, and I wanted to be on stage with them. We can procline the teeth. It will give us more space. We can distalize the molars. It will create space. We can do some extractions also. We can IPR. And we can use that pliers too. It's very good to create space, but the aesthetic result is not that good. I had a patient once. It's too. Use it. I prefer to use this than to use the clean check to show my patient. And always remember to move something, to change something. There's always something you can improve. Even if you like it, it's perfect, move something and put it back to where it was. Just so your patient knows that you have control over this thing, that you are controlling it.
What is this outcome simulator? Where does that, is that part of the clean check?
It's exclusive to, no, it's when you scan. When you scan with the iTero, then you have an option to do a simulation. So, and it's not clean check yet. You have not sent anything to Align yet. So it's before you do. So when we do a consultation for a patient, everybody has a simulation. And we have an option to send them to their phone directly. So they're still on the chair. How the software calculates the IPR? it doesn't calculate the same way we do because it will round everything up. So when I have some IPR to do, I will always do less than what is prescribed. Because if the software calculates 1.12 millimeters of IPR needed, they will ask you for 0.2. They will round up to the next the next what? Millimeter? Well, next tenth. Thank you very much. So 0.26 will be 0.3, 0.33 will be 0.4. So if you really 0.68, they will ask for 0.9. So I always do less than what they ask for, and I always write in my file where I did it, when I did it, and how much I removed. Number 3. We talked about the expansion, we talked about the 38 millimeters, and sometimes how can we easily measure that? Well, your cut and roll are 37 to 38 millimeters. So if you want to have a good idea, just take one, put it between the teeth, and you will see, do we really have a big difference there? It gives you rapidly an idea of the width of your palate. Number 4, if you want to move more than one teeth at a time, you just press Control and do a left click on all the teeth you want to move at the same time on the ClinCheck Pro. So it's not an obligation to do one at a time. So let's say I want to do intrusion, like we said, or extrusion of the 4 teeth, and then the cuspid. I can move them like that. I want to have all these teeth at the same level at the same time. I move them all at the same time. So you can do that.
What was that, control what?
Control plus a left click on each tooth. Then you can, as when you go to one of the arrows, it moves everything at the same time. You can zoom in and zoom out easily by going with pressing Control and going with your mouse like this or on the control pad. You can translate also by pressing Shift and again moving your mouse or doing the control pad. It's just easier to navigate on your ClinCheck Pro like this. Number 7. The ClinCheck is not the reality. I hope you will remember this. You look at it, but the teeth do not. Again, you are in the real world. This is the virtual world. Same thing as your technician. If the ClinCheck seems too good to be true, usually it's because it's too good to be true. Like a lot of things in life. Number 9, again, for horizontal movement, you need vertical attachments. For vertical movement, you need horizontal attachments. And when the software programs an attachment on a tooth, it needs one. And the last thing is, go out of your comfort zone. Have fun. Be crazy, but don't do any ledges. No, but sometimes we try things and we're not. And we try things for the first time and it doesn't really work. Keep trying, and look back to what you did to try to understand what didn't work. It's the same thing with the ClinChecks. I mean, you try, you look back, you do another series.